with our Great American Bash in June. We finished up with the Horsemen being attacked and dismantled by what I effectively at this point I'm calling the hyenas. They just run in and scavenge and pick the bones of people when they're not paying attention.
Well, could you call them the loose cannons?
Probably could.
Yeah.
They easily could do that and just take that moniker and spread it.
However, and I'm going to go ahead and reveal this now. I have not seen his notes.
Nope.
And he has not seen mine.
That's right.
So, I mean, there are some things we did sort of collaborate on, like, and we'll get into it later on because Bret Hart's going to play a key role.
Yep.
But we had to do some collaboration because, you know, with everything going on with Bret, we kind of wanted to sync that up.
As the champion lays back in the corner to gain his bearing, Arn rushes the ring, and when Arn rushes the ring, the two jump off and take off into the stands. So Arn comes out and gets them to run off.
Arn does.
Arn does.
Okay.
So now you have a down Hogan.
Arn Anderson and
questionable maneuver. Arn Anderson saves Hulk Hogan.
Arn Anderson. Well,
dire straits.
Steve Austin is booked on the undercard against Jake Roberts.
Okay.
After Roberts is soundly defeated with a Stone Cold Stunner, Austin gives the 316 interview in the ring after the match. Shawn wins the match against Razor to retain the WWF title.
Okay.
Okay? And then we'll go ahead and stop with mine, and I'll start with the Raw after SummerSlam, and we'll go ahead and go back to you.
So moving into August, starting to get a little bit shorter on some of the things that are going on. The show has to go on though, even though things are getting crazy. So in August, Sting makes his return on August the 10th, now being called Steve.
Okay.
No face paint, at Hog Wild. He shows up riding a slick-ass steel horse into the event, like Biker Taker without the tattoos.
Yeah.
And so when he gets there, he shows up to celebrate with the crowd and let everybody there know, hey, I am 100% back, 100% clear to wrestle, and ready to kick the shit out of every single person that caused me to miss this much time in the business.
So basically just Pillman.
That's right.
Yeah.
All that heat's coming from Pillman, that's right.
Yeah. Pillman's ass is in trouble.
So he talks about the current state of WCW at the same time. He says in his absence, he's seen the rise of some incredible young talents because he's been sitting at home watching this stuff on TV. He's selectively points out Alex Wright, who in this universe is now the Cruiserweight champion. Alex Wright. The Das Wonder Kid, Alex Wright. Deep cut, baby, let's go. He talks about Eddie Guerrero, who at this time, Eddie Guerrero is slowly starting to kind of move his way up the card. The relationship that he had with Benoit and the WWF, they were workout buddies. They started getting larger together. You can kind of see Eddie is starting to take on that little bit more stocky size. So he's not out of the Cruiserweight division yet, but he's on his way.
Okay.
And because of the some of the space, just like we talked about, there was not a lot of vacancies in WWF with Hall and Nash sticking around. Here there are some vacancies now. Sting's been on the shelf, the Horsemen have gone babyface, and 3 of them are injured. So there's some spots for guys to move a little bit. So Eddie is somebody that's really stepped up as well, that Sting calls out as a potential somebody special. And then Diamond Dallas Page, who he says has the heart of a lion with balls to match. Like he's becoming a DDP fan as well. DDP has gone face.
Has gone face.
Has gone face.
Okay, who did he diamond cut to turn face?
I didn't get that far into DDP's booking.
Okay.
So he lets the crowd know that he has a lot to think about in adding a final man to his team of 3, because right now he still has Arn with him, right?
Okay.
It's going to be, Bischoff says, you're going to be the guy, Arn's going to be a guy, and then we need one more guy that we got to track down, and I'm going to leave that to you as the captain of this ship, Sting. Now that you're Steve, now that you're back.
Okay.
Okay?
Sting Steve. Okay.
So just then, in the midst of this promo, an emergency in the back shows Pillman and Levy attack Arn Anderson on his way into the venue space. They've got like trailers and vehicles back there where he's positioned. So Pillman actually has his black Hummer still all blacked out, and he slams Arn's forearm in the door.
Okay.
Okay? So, Pillman sarcastically mocks Arn as if he's crying while Levy turns to the camera and says, "Hey, sorry it's taken us so long to get back around to you, Sting or Steve or whatever the heck they're calling you now. But I guess we just didn't have the heart to send you back to your kids in a body bag."
Oh, that's a little foreshadow.
So, Sting leaps from the ring and rushes to the back. The loose cannons scatter. Nothing of major substance happens at the rest of the pay-per-view with the exception of Eddie versus DDP. Eddie beating DDP in a way that pushes Eddie a little bit further up the card. And then the Nasty Boys lose to the Steiners, and Harlem Heat defend their tag straps against Ming and the Barbarian.
Okay.
That's the end of my August push.
Okay, and and that included
All Wild.
Okay. All right, so we'll get back over to me. The Raw after SummerSlam.
Okay.
Okay. The crowd is filled with signs that say Austin 316.
Beautiful.
Okay? And that's all I'm going to do for that at the moment.
Okay.
Okay? Paul Bearer, with his hair dyed back to black, does a sit-down interview with Jim Ross.
Okay.
He claims that Mankind showed him that Undertaker only cares about himself. Undertaker made little to no effort to rescue him, and the more time he spent with Mankind, the more he saw that Undertaker did not care about Paul Bearer.
Okay.
Alright, there's a rematch between Helmsley and Vader. The match ends in chaos when Cornette mistakenly strikes Vader with the tennis racket again. Vader fights through Bulldog and Owen to try to get to Cornette, but Jim Cornette is able to escape.
Okay.
There's an interview with Shawn and Sid after a tag team match against Bulldog and Owen. Reveals that Sid wants another match with Diesel.
Okay.
Sid wants to prove to Diesel just how much of a man he is. Shawn says he's done with Razor Ramon and he demands another challenger.
I bet Razor doesn't like hearing that.
Probably not, but Razor got his shot, he lost.
Yeah.
Okay, for the Raw shows for the rest of September, Austin is cheered wildly when he makes appearances. He ignores the cheers and he still cheats to win his matches.
Okay.
And he even gives the crowd the middle finger every time he gives a stunner.
Okay.
And because of that, they cheer him even more.
Over, yeah.
Paul Bearer begins to accompany Mankind to the ring. And they give an interview, and Bearer says, well, if significant victories make you worthy of a championship match, Mankind's beat Undertaker twice. That should be good enough, so they booked Shawn versus Mankind for In Your House 10.
Oof. Okay.
Because
Mankind undefeated at this point.
yeah,
He's just been
Pretty much.
he's just been steamrolling people with the main
Pretty
event
much.
ball.
pretty much, because he wound up getting a shot in reality in October.
Yeah.
So here I got him getting it in September.
Yeah. Month off.
Yeah. There's a match between Vader and Helmsley and Bulldog and Owen that is booked for In Your House 10.
Okay.
If Vader and Helmsley win, Vader gets 5 minutes in the ring with Cornette,
Oh my.
and Vader gets to use the tennis racket. Sid still demands another match with Diesel, and he promises to give a better showing than he did at SummerSlam. Now, during all of this, behind the scenes, negotiations begin between Vince McMahon and Bret Hart, who's been on hiatus
Doing movies and whatnot.
since WrestleMania 12.
That's right.
Well, because Vince paid Razor and Diesel to stay, he doesn't have enough room to increase Bret's pay.
Okay.
So he offers Bret the same deal. Bret refuses.
Declines that one, yeah.
And in an effort to aid Bret in a deal with WCW, Vince offers Bret $1 million a year.
Okay.
So Bret takes that to Bischoff, says, I've been offered $1 million, can you beat it?
Okay.
Bischoff says, yeah, I'll beat it. I'll give you $1 million per year, plus favored nations.
Got it.
That's enough to get Bret to go sign with WCW.
Okay.
Now, in your house 10. Sid fares better in this match against Diesel, but Diesel still wins.
Okay.
Because Diesel got paid the money, Sid did not.
Sid just gotta keep getting pummeled.
Well, and plus Diesel, every time Diesel and Sid wrestled in real life, Diesel would win anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking to
Dave's top
reality.
guy.
I'm sticking to reality anyway. Vader and Helmsley win their match against Owen and Bulldog.
Okay.
Vader gets his 5 minutes with Cornette, and he closes out the 5 minutes by hitting a Vader bomb on Cornette with the tennis racket on top of Cornette.
That Cornette loves that bump.
Yeah, while this is going on, or after that 5 minutes is over, Helmsley's still sitting ringside watching all this because he's going to enjoy watching Cornette get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Diesel attacks Helmsley from behind.
Okay.
Now, back in the locker room, Cornette's in the trainer's room, recovering from his injuries. That's when Clarence Mason shows up,
Okay.
who has been the attorney for Ken Cornette all along.
Okay.
And he has Cornette sign a document. Mason says the document will be used for insurance purposes should Cornette need to go to the hospital because of the beating Vader just gave him. And we close it out there. Steve Austin, wearing Austin 316 on his vest for the first time, faces Mark Mero and is given a big pop during his entrance and once he hits the Stone Cold Stunner. Austin continues to reject the fan support. Mankind and Shawn Michaels face each other for the WWF title. The match ends when Michaels gives Mankind a crossbody from the apron to the floor and puts Mankind through the announce table.
Okay.
While Mankind is down and Paul Bearer is checking on him, lights go out, gong.
Nice.
The lights come up, Undertaker is standing over Mankind and he grabs Paul Bearer by the throat.
Nice.
Bearer gets choke slammed to the arena floor. We hear the gong again. Lights go out. Once they come up again, Undertaker's gone. The show fades to black.
Just had to choke slam Paul Bear.
This is saying, hey, Undertaker's back.
Yep. And he's got a few coming with Mankind.
He's going to get some payback for
Okay.
SummerSlam.
What I love about where you're at right now is that I feel like, for all the weird people in the world who have always like kind of put Sting and Undertaker on that weird vertical trajectory, like parallel to each other, like my Sting arc and your Undertaker arc are kind of running parallel. And I didn't know, like Sting's coming back to smash on Pillman, Undertaker's coming back to smash on Mankind. Like we got, that's right.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that works.
Okay, and we'll go ahead and go back to you for, what is it?
Yeah, we're moving into September now. So in September, we're looking at Fall Brawl.
Uh-huh.
So moving toward Fall Brawl in September, Steve is on his journey to track down now 2 partners because it's been determined that Arn's injury is putting him on the shelf for the rest of the year. Arn's not coming back. Horsemen are 3 down. He's now down. And Sting is like, I had a guy that I felt like at least I could trust at one point, and then he got crushed by these guys, and now it's me all by myself again, isolated, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do. So, at this moment, with the Horsemen completely removed from the equation, they start playing vignettes of on pretty much every Nitro of Sting like studying tape of some of the up-and-comers that he talked about, because one of the things that I was really interested in was trying to like provide a spotlight to some of those future talents that were looking good, the Guerreros and guys, Jerichos and those guys that were
Something
in there.
that WCW failed to do.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But I think it would have been cool to utilize one of your established stars to kind of start to elevate at least the idea of some of those guys. So what we have are these vignettes of Steve studying tapes like in the basement of his house, and they're, you know, big highlight reels and highlight tapes of guys like Ultimo Dragon, Chris Jericho, Scott Norton during this time frame, because he was part of that Fire and Ice tag team, and he was a babyface, and he was a pretty big, strong guy.
He didn't stay babyface for long.
No, he didn't. He absolutely didn't.
Yeah.
And then the Giant, of course, who also was running that babyface turn. And as we're rolling through this, you can see that Sting's kind of like, okay. The one consistency in every single person that they show here, for the most part, is that most of these guys would be identified as like WCW homegrown talent. Okay. They're not guys that spent 6 years, 8 years with Vince and then showed up to WCW. Most of them are guys that you would say are synonymous, which is why the Hogans and the Savages and some of those other guys are plugged heavy in there. Okay. So he's really looking to establish somebody that would have their name attached to that. So the month of September, Hogan and Luger are back at each other's throats again, this time using Steve's journey to endear themselves to the major fight that's approaching. So not only is the title up for grabs between these two, but now they are both kind of jockeying for position to be one of Sting's guys. This is the main category, and they're wanting to, it's the main program. So they're wanting to be associated with the main program even beyond the title feud.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
All right. Hogan is going to fight to be recognized by Sting.
To be part of that, to be part of that team. Yep.
Something tells me that's kind of below Hogan.
Okay.
I don't think it's like. Something tells, you know, like we were talking about Sting and Undertaker being parallel. Yeah. Something tells me that Sting and Hogan would also be parallel.
Yeah, I can see that.
But because I don't think in real life, now character-wise may be different.
Yeah.
I think in real life, the Hogan that I was always familiar with is either the main program or he ain't on the show.
Yeah. Well, so I would almost say that is exactly what I'm saying, is that right now the heavyweight title is not, it is really not being featured as the number one storyline on the show.
So he wants to train
behind the scenes. He's kind of like, this is what's getting all the attention. I want to be in that storyline. Sting's got 2 slots. They've got Sting sitting in this, but like, I want to be one of those guys because I'll be the conquering hero to save WCW. He thinks if he can get in line with Sting, he might be able to hijack Sting's spot as the main guy.
Oh, okay. Now
So
that
from
makes
a
sense.
politic position, he wants that position because this is the main storyline that's being carried.
That makes sense.
So this is what makes Hogan want to be a part of that.
Because we always have to play Hogan's ego.
That's right, always. And that's not when you can.
I'm not trying. I've always been a fan of Hogan.
Not like Scott Hall's drugs.
But I recognize Hogan's ego is probably bigger than the state of Texas.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we got it. So with that, that's kind of what this is he is trying to plug himself in there from the behind the scenes perspective, because he's like, that's the main storyline. I'm not in the main storyline, even though I'm fighting for the title, as well as Hulkamania is starting to die with the smart fans. So the smart fans are booing when he comes out and tries to do his real American stuff. So he's kind of going, well, if I could attach myself, kind of like, this is something, a reputation that Jericho has in AEW right now, that he consistently attaches himself to whatever the next up-and-coming hot thing is, and then he like siphons some of that energy and excitement.
So now we know where Jericho got it.
That's right. It's like a Hogan tactic is what I'd say. Yeah.
All right.
So this is kind of the thought process on where that's headed. So Hogan and Luger are back at each other's throats, this time using Sting's journey to endear themselves to the major fight that's approaching. Okay. At different times, they plead with Sting face to face, citing their histories together during the territory days, or Lex leaning really heavy onto when they were tag team champions together at the beginning of the year. And you remember how close we were. But of course, Sting doesn't really buy Lex because Lex watched Hogan get the crap kicked out of him, and Lex didn't do anything. So Sting's kind of like, I'm not trying to get beat up by these guys, and you not have my back. So with that, each time Sting listens, and it's easy to see that he's risking his friendships with these guys to the best of what you would call a friendship with these guys. But self-preservation is really the thing that he's focused on. I want to put all my focus and time into pummeling Brian Pillman.
Okay.
I don't have the time to watch my own back if I'm focused solely on this guy. Okay. I need people I can trust.
Uh-huh.
And like clockwork, each Monday, the loose cannons pop into the show on Nitros and hit up another athlete that was featured in Sting's film study.
Okay.
Every single time it looks like Sting might have a guy that he's going to approach, that guy the very next week or that guy later that night, boom, after the vignette they show Alex Wright, boom, Alex Wright gets murdered by these guys in the back. Boom, he looks at Eddie Guerrero, pow, Eddie Guerrero gets knocked off by these guys. So it just consistently is dwindling the line of people that he has an opportunity to pull together and work with.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So, Alex Wright goes down, Ultimo Dragon goes down, Chris Jericho goes down. They all drop like flies, some in the middle of matches, some in the parking lot on the way in, some in the locker room. These guys, they attack anybody at any time to continue that crazy sense of stress. We don't know what's going to happen.
Okay.
So on the Go Home Nitro, before September's Fall Brawl, we see Levy and Pillman come to the commentary booth. They kick Bischoff away to converse with Bobby Heenan, and they question him about Sting's progress in finding any partners tough enough to stand against him. Heenan really has no answers, save for saying Steve seems motivated to fight the two of them all by himself, even if he's the only one to do it. Like, he'll come on behalf of this because he's got a score to settle with you guys.
Okay, gonna stop you again.
Uh-huh.
All right. You said Pillman and Levy or Raven or whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
Beat up everybody Sting studying.
Yep.
Hogan and Luger are...
They're still fine now. They're battling with each other, but trying to take
get
those
the
two
affection of
spots.
Sting, but Pillman and Levy don't do anything to Hogan?
Nope. Haven't touched Hogan now.
Okay. All right, just making sure I'm following.
That's right.
All right.
So Hogan and Luger are both right now. Hogan and Luger are both loose right now.
Okay.
So while they're sitting talking to Bobby, they say, "Hey, Levy chuckles when Bobby says, 'I think Sting wants to come at the two of you,' and Levy says, but we didn't say two. We said three. And I don't think that Sting or Steve or whatever is built on the kind of foundation that allows men to walk into a gunfight with knives. Eventually he'll have to pick someone in hopes they don't turn their back on him. And the best thing about this is he doesn't know who we have on our side. The big thing that I wanted them to come out with here is they kind of close this portion of that conversation by saying he's gonna have to make a decision eventually because we're tired of clearing out this locker room. We have lots of other wrestling worlds to conquer.
Okay.
So, Fall Brawl is another one of those fairly uneventful pay-per-views, wrapping the night with another matchup between the Steiners and Harlem Heat for the Tag Team Championships that ends in DQ. When Pillman and Levy attack Booker T, pull him into the crowd and put the boots to him, costing the Steiners the match by disqualification. Steiners are pissed at that situation.
I would imagine.
So, that is how we end September off of Fall Brawl.
Okay, and we'll go back to me.
Back to you.
All right, the Raw after the In Your House 10. Diesel and Razor have a match against the Smoking Guns for the WWF Tag Team titles. Helmsley distracts Diesel and causes the Guns to win with a surprise roll-up on Diesel.
Okay.
Diesel pursues Helmsley to the backstage area. Paul Bearer is pushed to the ring in a wheelchair by Mankind.
After that joke's like,
Paul gives an interview about how he is going to sue The Undertaker for assault for what happened to him at In Your House 10. If Undertaker does not settle the dispute out of court, then Paul Bearer is going to reveal a secret about the Undertaker.
Okay.
Pretty sure you know where I'm going there.
I do. I'm just trying to determine how I feel about a Paul Bear lawyer angle. When he's got Mankind there,
Well,
I'm just like, this is interesting. We're suing the dead man with the urn.
Yeah.
This seems a little bit too realistic
Well,
for the fanciful nature of the Undertaker.
Well, we'll get to that.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I'll trust you along the way.
Shawn Michaels does an in-ring interview where he is asking for his next challenger.
Okay.
Owen Hart steps up
Nice.
and makes his case to WWF officials as well as the British Bulldog.
Okay.
Michael suggests a match between the two of them. Clarence Mason arrives and shows the WWF officials a document that Cornette had signed the night before. It actually gives Clarence Mason full managerial control over Bulldog and Owen.
No goodness. Okay.
Because at this point, Cornette was transitioning to get off TV anyway.
Okay.
Mason suggests that there be a 2-week competition between Bulldog and Owen to determine the next challenger,
Okay.
instead of them having to face each other.
Okay.
Alright, now for the Raw shows for the rest of October. A match for In Your House 11 is made pitting Diesel against Helmsley.
Okay.
Helmsley has a match with Razor Ramon with the stipulation that if Helmsley beats Razor, then Razor is banned from the building at In Your House 11.
Okay.
And Helmsley wins. Diesel argues with Razor after the loss to Helmsley.
Okay. Diesel argues with Razor.
Yeah. Like, you lost, now I gotta face Helmsley by myself.
Okay.
Undertaker presses Paul Bearer about the secret.
How so? Can you give me an example? Presses?
Basically,
vignettes, or is he talking to him somewhere?
either through vignettes or in face to face, however they want to do it, whatever works.
Paul Bear's still in the wheelchair. Can Undertaker choke slam it out of the wheelchair?
I don't cover that. I just make Paul Bearer in a wheelchair because, of course, the heel's going to oversell.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you wanted Mankind to have to push him down the ring. That's a funny visual, it is.
Yeah, and, then you go halfway down and just let him. Yeah.
Give him the Miz treatment.
Yeah. Because I hate the Miz anyway. But anyway, Undertaker presses Paul Bearer about the secret. Bearer stands firm and refuses to reveal the info.
Okay.
Mankind and Undertaker get into a brawl that spills out of the arena and into a nearby cemetery.
Got it.
There's an empty gravesite, and Undertaker choke slams Mankind into the grave.
Okay.
Mankind states that Undertaker should suffer the same fate, and a buried alive match is booked for In Your House 11.
Nice.
Bulldog and Owen are subjected to a challenge where they will face similar opponents in order to qualify for the title match in Your House 11.
Okay.
The winner of the challenge will be the wrestler who wins their matches in the shortest amount of time. Basically, it's a beat the clock.
Beat the clock challenge. Okay.
Yeah. If either man loses a match, they are eliminated from consideration. The opponents for the challenge are going to be Bob Holly and Flash Funk.
Okay. All right.
The final match in the series, which is Owen versus Holly, ends with Owen pinning Holly just as time expires.
Nice.
The result is considered a tie. Bulldog and Owen both get the title shot at In Your House 11.
Got it.
And also during this time, behind the scenes, Bulldog's contract expires during this time.
Okay.
In an effort to entice Bulldog to re-sign for the same rate as his previous contract, Bulldog and Owen are placed in a main event program for the WWF title. That's why Bulldog and Owen were put in that spot to begin with.
Okay.
Bulldog agrees to a temporary per appearance deal until the end of October.
Okay.
Okay? Then we get to In Your House 11. The Helmsley Diesel match ends in controversy when both men fail to answer a 10 count while down inside the ring. Helmsley suffers an intense beating throughout the match, but refuses to stay down.
Okay.
Helmsley gets a boost of energy, hits a pedigree that leads to the 10 count finish.
We're still looking at babyface Hunter at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
Helmsley was working his way up, but he doesn't get to his feet in time.
Okay.
So it ends with a double count out finish with both of them down in the ring.
Love you some disqualifications and no contests, and don't you?
Okay, Undertaker wins the Buried Alive match with Mankind. After the burial, Paul Bearer grabs a mic and reveals the secret that just as Undertaker put Mankind in the ground, he did the same thing to his own family.
Okay.
Undertaker did.
Yep.
When he set his childhood house on fire while his mother, father, and little brother were asleep inside.
Okay.
Undertaker is horrified by the announcement and he leaves the arena. We get Undertaker to break character.
Ooh my, that's big.
And leave the arena.
That's a big one.
Bulldog and Owen attempt to team up to eliminate Michaels from their triple threat title match.
Okay.
But they can never agree on who gets to pin Michaels to win the title.
Okay.
Michaels uses this to his advantage and capitalizes on a Bulldog-Owen double knockout. Covers Bulldog for the win. And Bulldog's temporary agreement expires at the end of the show.
Okay. So Bulldog's out.
So Bulldog is done with WWF after this match.
And this is October?
This is October.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
And we'll head back to you.
All right.